Hello, everybody. Welcome in to our very special Q&A session for this month, September 2025. Good to see everybody here who's joining us live. I tell you what, pop in the chat. We'll give a few minutes, as always, for everyone to file in and for YouTube to catch up. Looks like we're live. Looks like we're good. Jump in the chat if you would and tell us where you're joining us from. This was a short notice heads up, so I imagine we'll have a smaller chat today, which often ends up leading to the best conversations and the best questions because I can get to all of them ideally. So let's start off as you guys make your way in. Jump in the chat, say hey. The water is warm around here in these Q&A sessions. Let us know where you're joining us from. I would love to hear where you are in the world. Are you West Coast? Is it early for you? Are you in the Midwest where I'm at? Well, we're not Central Time. We're Eastern Time. Actually, my wife and I saw a comedian a couple years ago, and he's like, when you look at the map, he's like, Ohio, because I'm in Columbus, Ohio, for those who don't know. He said, you guys are labeled Midwest, but he's like, you're actually like Middle East. You're the Middle East of the United States. I was like, that's actually very, very accurate. Anywho, let us know where you're coming from. Hey, Anna, it's really good to see you from Mississippi. Jeremy, great to see you, my man, from Hilton Head. Good to see everybody here. Welcome in. Jump in the chat, say hey, and then we will dive into some questions. As I mentioned, I'll be honest, I've been knee-deep and head down, and I'm actually revamping webdesignerpro.com. So I have just been headfirst, full-fledged into that. And I looked at my schedule and realized I completely forgot to promote this month's Q&A. So we'll keep it loose, we'll keep it casual, and we'll keep it small today. But I hope that just means I'll be able to get to all your questions and answer in full detail. Hey, Emily, it's really good to see you from Virginia Beach. We've got Lawrence from Switzerland. Welcome in, Lawrence. We've got Anisha from Daytona. Welcome in. Again, Jeremy from Hilton Head. We've got Anna from Mississippi. Welcome in, guys. Drop in the chat if you just joined us. Good to see you. We'll be getting into some questions here, but jump in and let us know where you're joining us from. You never know what friends you'll meet on a live Q&A here. Hey, Breen, is it Breen? Is that right? Breen or Brianne from Canada. Welcome in. A couple things I wanted to mention, guys. These details are below, but if you did not know, I have a brand new revenue calculator, and you can get it for free if you're not yet on my email list. All you have to do is click the link below. It's joshhall.co/newsletter. That will bring you right here. What I've done is I've made my revenue calculator that I have in Web Designer Pro for members in my community completely free for you. We'll take a look at it here real quick. But on top of the revenue calculator, I'm also going to send you my top 5 newsletters over the past 2 years. So if you want to see what's working really well for web designers and just get boots on the ground, some tactics and strategies to help you grow your business, there we go. It's completely free. Details below for you. We'll look at the revenue calculator next here, but we'll get to some greetings here. Greetings from San Fran, I'm guessing. Oh, I have my questions already ready. Okay, cool. Go ahead and drop them in the Q&A, or not the Q&A. I wish YouTube had a Q&A box. Drop them in the chat if you would, guys, and I'll start to get to questions. Breen, got it. Awesome, Breen. Welcome in. Good to see you from the land up north from where I am. All right, guys. Well, real quick, as I mentioned, the revenue calculator that I just talked about, it's my newest resource. It is completely free for you. Description below has the details. All you have to do is go to joshhall.co/newsletter. And inside of Pro here, this is where we have it. We'll just take a look at it real quick. It's a Google Sheet that you can make a copy of. And I'm going to try to be modest, but it's just freaking awesome. Web Designer Pro members are really, really getting a lot out of this because you can map out and visualize your revenue. So this is what you'll get. There's a quick overview here with a video that walks you through it. But let me just show you guys. Again, this is completely free for you. This is why I recommend doing this. So let's say you want to map out a 6-figure business. I've got a lot of services here, so I don't expect you to have all these services. In fact, I wouldn't recommend this many, but this is simply an option just to show you what's possible. Let me zoom out here. But let's say you want to map out a 6-figure business. So we're aiming for 100K. You have website in a week, let's say you can do websites for like a basic style website within a week that's fairly templatized or productized. Let's say you could for sure do 2 of those a month. Right there, we're already at 5K. Let's say bigger sites, you could probably do 1 a month that are more custom, maybe anywhere between $5,000 and $10,000. And actually, sorry, this should be, let's see. So how many do I want to sell this year? We want to sell 2. Those would actually be 24. So there we go. 24 of those. And let's say we could do 1 of these per month. So this is actually 12. And let's say even just 1 custom website. Automatically, we've just mapped out a $165,000 business. But if we want to be more modest about this, let's say we do 1 website in a week per month, and then we'll cut this in half. That is very reasonable. Do you guys see how practical this is to make nearly a 6-figure business? And let's say we get 2 larger sites per year. That's a 6-figure business right there. We haven't even touched branding. We haven't even done our maintenance or support plans. Let's say you have a support plan that's $99. You could definitely sell, we want to shoot for 1 of those a month. That's 12. Let's say you have half of those that go to a fallback plan at $49. And then let's say you have an SEO plan that's $1,000 a month. And let's say you get 3 of those sold. Right there, we're looking at over $158,000. Now, you have to do the work and you have to sell this, but I can't tell you how beneficial it is because I'm using this for myself as well to map out what you need to hit your revenue target. And of course, you'll need to take taxes and expenses and ideally leave some room for profit here. But I really want to encourage you guys to use this revenue calculator. It is completely free. All you have to do is go to joshhall.co/newsletter. I will send you this immediately. You will get it immediately upon signing up, and then you can play around with this. And you can map out your 6 or multi-6-figure web design business, or even if you just want to hit 30 or 40,000, you can map it out right here and see how practical it is. So I really encourage you to make this your own. The last thing I'll say about this, and then I'll start taking questions, is I would recommend making a version of this that is your, how would we say it? I guess conservative approach, like conservative revenue number, but then like a dream revenue number. So you may have one that just shoots for 75,000, but then if you think, what if I did have a $150,000 or $250,000 business, or I've got some Web Designer Pro members who are now in a 300, 400, 500 range. What would it look like to get to that range? And you can map it out here. You'll be shocked at how once you do things a little bit at a higher price point and a little bit at scale, how fast you can get to multi-6 figures. So go on and get it, friends. Have some fun with that. joshhall.co/newsletter. All right, let's get into some questions. Good to see you if you just joined us, by the way. We'll dive into some questions here. So drop those in the chat. Feel free to put all your questions in the chat. Eventually, I'm hoping that YouTube comes out with a live Q&A button to be able to spotlight questions. But for right now, jump in the chat. Let me know what's on your mind. Anything you guys want to get some free coaching on, I am yours for the next 51 minutes. So if it's about pricing, if it's about clients, if it's about AI, if it's about anything that's going on right now in the way of conversions, tactics, strategies, I am all ears. And we've got our first question from ImageForm Studio. Let me know what your name is if you would, ImageForm Studio. Otherwise, I'll just call you ImageForm Studio. Already on the mailing list. Best way to get the updated spreadsheet. You should be able to get it again. If you try rejoining, let me know if that works for you. Can you try to get it again? Unless if you're already on the list. If you can't get it again, I tell you what, email me and I'll send it over to you. I'll send that right over to you. You can email me. Okay, Drew, cool. Yeah, if you want to, Drew, just go to joshhall.co/contact and zip me a note in there, and I will send that right to you. I think I might make a separate sign up for it eventually for this cause, for those who aren't a member of my community, Web Designer Pro yet. I'll send that. So I will send that over to you, Drew, and then I will make a version of it to where you could just get the revenue calculator if you're already on my newsletter. So I'll make that a priority. All right, guys, I'm here to take your questions. Tell me about your web design business. Ask me anything about pricing, clients, Star Wars, Jurassic Park, anything like that. Hey, Howard, really good to see you from Boston. Donnie from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Welcome in, guys. Welcome. Hey, Anisha, I've been hearing that business for a lot of people has been slow this year. What has been the best way to get clients without living on social media? Well, let me address the first thing because this kind of all depends. I mean, quite honestly, is there ever truly like a stable global economic time? Like there's always ebbs and flows and ups and downs. But the reality is I think a lot of people do use that as a crutch in some way. And I'm not saying this personally, Anisha, but in certain industries are affected, no doubt. But the reality is I'm overseeing web designers who are killing it. And yes, that can be years of experience that have compounded. Yes, that can be a client list or an established social media presence or a channel. But a lot of it is, I think a lot of people tend to get fearful and they just stop marketing. We had a member of Web Designer Pro who actually just rejoined, and she said that her numbers went a little bit down earlier this year. And as she looked as to the reasons why, she just got comfortable and just was not marketing. So I think a lot of it, if your numbers are down, I think the first thing I would recommend doing is it's really easy to get into the blame game and look at, and yes, there are always economic factors, but the reality is I would take ownership first. I would take complete ownership of your numbers and your revenue and ask yourself, like, am I showing up differently? Am I not promoting as much? Am I not in sales mode enough? If that's the case, then get into sales mode. So long-winded way to address that first part, Anisha, just saying that a lot of people saying it's been slow this year. It all depends. It depends on the industry, depends on marketing, depends on a lot of different variables. But there are plenty of people who are killing it. So let's get you to killing it. So what has been the best way to get clients without living on social media? If you don't want to go any of the social media route, I would go in person. And by that, I mean networking groups. And with networking groups, depending on where you're at in the world, here's one thing that's really important to remember about networking groups. There's two types. There's networking groups where they're strictly like you go to events and it's just a place to meet people. And then there are referral groups. Referral groups are things like BNI. I was in one called AmSpirit, which is kind of like BNI. Referral groups, you pay to be there, but you are there to get business. And people who are there to get business. And you all give business to each other. You get access to your networks. As long as you can make a decent website and you're a cool person, you will get business. So if you're not going to do any sort of social media, I would focus on in-person stuff. It's just the best way to go. It's how I built my business, not being on social media. However, for you, Anisha, and anyone else who doesn't want to be like a, face in camera influencer type, I totally get it. I would consider LinkedIn or utilizing your social media purely as just connection with your current network. You don't need to be in front of, you don't need to be posting content all the time, but I would remember to have a way to connect with them online, or at the very least an email list that they could sign up for and get in front of people locally. You can also check out Chamber of Commerce's in your area. And this actually kind of brings us Marco. Good to see you. Marco has a question about good strategy to market online. If you're going to purely market online, I would really figure out and think about your superpower, Marco. What do you have some sort of specialty in or expertise in? And if you're going to go purely online, I would start to post content about what you know and what you can help clients with. So for example, I think a lot of you guys know here on my YouTube channel, I started with Divi tutorials. I've been using Divi since 2014. It's my page builder of choice. And I got pretty proficient with it. And without being an expert in code or even Divi, I just started posting tutorials and just sharing what I was doing with websites and how I built things. And that blew up on YouTube. And that got me way more clients than I actually thought it was going to. I actually did not anticipate actual real clients seeing these videos and then hiring me. So I know for me, that was huge. So to your question, Marco, what can you post content on, whether it's a YouTube channel, whether it's a podcast, or whether it's social media that you have specialty in and that you enjoy? Another really good example of this, we'll head over to Sam, who was a Web Designer Pro member, who has a area of specialty with local SEO. And I will put this in the chat for you guys. I think we've talked about Sam the last few live Q&A sessions we've done here just because he's such a good example. But I just posted Sam's YouTube channel in the chat there. But Sam fell in love with local SEO. So he started a YouTube channel that is basically all of his and his agency tips for local SEO. So check this out as a really good example. If you're just going to post content online, I would go some sort of niche or specialty or expertise that you can help clients with, just to make you really easily referable. So for you, Marco, think about what you feel comfortable and have interest and expertise in, and consider, even if you have a personal branded channel, I would just, do something that is like that you can say like, yeah, check out Marco for conversion tips or SEO or design or whatever it is. Good questions in here, guys. So we'll answer questions a little faster here since we got a list growing. Anna wanted to know, working with a client who came on board in July as a maintenance plan client after her old web designer went out of business. Oh, that's sad. She should have joined Web Designer Pro. She's mentioned a few times that she wants a website refresh, but let me get the second part of the question here. I've not been able to get on a call with her yet. She seems pretty busy working in the biz. Dog grooming. Gotcha. Yeah, they're busy. I don't actually know that much about her biz because we didn't do traditional onboarding. So without starting the relationship with a new website or redesign. Any tips for how to direct this process or make it a great experience? It's a little backwards from my normal process. Got it. No problem, man. I know it's a long question. So what I would do for somebody who's really, really busy and just needs something up, what I would probably recommend doing is offering them almost like a starter package website just to get something up that doesn't need to be extremely customized. So if you can put your base package in some sort of like website in a week type model, type offer, that's what I would do. Make it extremely productized in the way of it's not going to be super custom. It's going to be fairly quote unquote simple. But if you had a homepage, one services page, and a contact page, that would probably be enough. Or it could technically be one page. So at the very least, you could do like a one pager that has location, services, contact, and that's it. That's where I would probably start. Because if she's a maintenance plan client, I guess it depends on the scope and size of the current project, Anna, but that's what I would do is like, okay, if she wants a refresh, basically the tip is to make it a no-brainer, easy offer to get going. You don't want to overwhelm a busy client. You want to give them like quick wins and something they could do quickly. So that's what I would do, is see how you could take that and do like phase one of a refresh. And without getting into the entire site, see what that would look like. I mean, you could do a homepage, but then you don't want to have like a beautiful homepage and then terrible service pages, for example. So that's what I would try to do. Make it easy win and something that's faster. My personal focus is UX design, so I'm starting up my own freelance practice, said Marco. Cool. So that's what I would go. Yeah, talk about UX design. If that's what you know, that's what you enjoy, help people out with UX design. And as far as showing up online, whatever channel you choose, whether it's YouTube, podcast, a newsletter, social media, I would just have UX. I mean, and you can always change that in the future, or you could have UX design and web design, but I would have that as your thing. And then eventually, as you start to attract some followers and get some people who are, at the very least, depending on other marketing that you're doing, seeing your channel, eventually you could look at doing like guest workshops or anything to get out there more online. And then, of course, you could always write blog posts and get in the SEO content game as well. Side note, SEO is not dead, my friends, for anyone who's worried about that. Actually, next week inside of Web Designer Pro, we have our SEO guru, Michelle Bermanier, who's my SEO keyword specialist and copy specialist. She's doing a presentation on AI and where AI is in web design. So this is below for you guys. But before we get to more questions, if you guys have been on the fence of Web Designer Pro, I have a special deal for you below. There's a special code to get 30% off your first 3 months inside of Web Designer Pro. And I'll just share this with you real quick because, as I mentioned, we do guest workshops almost every month. Our next one is all about how AI search works. So if you have been on the fence on Web Designer Pro, check out the link below. You can use that code to jump in. And if you join the community level, you'll get access to this training live. Because again, Michelle is my personal SEO guru, my copywriting specialist, and we're going to be diving into AI and how that works in relations to SEO. So if you've been on the fence and you've been interested in joining, now would be an incredible time because you can join this presentation live, which goes down next Tuesday, and you can join the Q&A. And gosh, we have a good time on these. So definitely recommend that if you've been on the fence. All right, guys, now over to some good questions after a quick drink. So RN wants to know, what's the best way to hand a website over to a customer? There's a few different things involved, and it depends on their involvement on the website. I'm guessing if you're talking about handing it over, they're probably literally hands are in the website. So what I would do, first off, you want to get the payment first. The final payment, ideally, before you go live. That's one thing I'd recommend everyone have in their contract is that once the site is signed off, final payment comes in, then we launch. So do that first. Make sure you get paid. And then as far as literally handing the keys over to the website, it depends on if they've been active leading up to launch. First things first is to have a client resources section. So for those who have not been through my business course, which is inside of Web Designer Pro, I will put this link in the chat for you guys. But one thing that I did for my clients that was so helpful, so this is in the chat now, is to have a resources page. This is what you're seeing right here. So when you give a site over to a client, the biggest thing you got to remember is you need to empower them. Because if you don't have some sort of list of walkthrough videos or training, they are going to ask you so many questions. And unless you have them on a support plan, my goodness, is it going to be a lot of time that is unbilled. So what I would for sure do is there's a couple different ways you can empower clients and train them. At the very least, I would have like a resources page that just has very basic overviews of what they're going to be doing on their site. If this needs to be personalized, what I would do is create a custom video or set of videos to their needs. So walk them through how to post a blog post, walk them through how to upload images online if they're doing that. Depending on your tool stack, RN, that's what I would do, is make sure you give them some training and empowerment. So that's the first things first. On a practical level, real quick on this, one thing I would do is it's really just a matter of logins. Apart from training them, it's a matter of just logins and details. So I would securely send them over all the login details for the site, set them up as an editor or an admin on the site, and that should be it. They should be good to go from there, unless there's internal password sharing that you should probably do with like 1Password or LastPass or Basecamp or wherever you're managing your projects. Let me know if that helps. All right, starting a web design marketing business. Congrats. The niche is electricians. Live in Korea, but I serve clients in the US. Oh, awesome. So American. Awesome. Is it Fido? Is that right? What's the best way to get new clients in my niche? The first thing I would do is find out where electricians are hanging out online. Because if you want to work with US-based customers, but you're not in the US, whether you're in Korea or anywhere else in the world, online is the only option. The only other option is if you have an existing network of electricians, try to tap into that. Let's say, for example, you've got like 2 clients who are electricians here in the States, but you live abroad. What I would personally do if it were me is I would have like an electrician website offer. And the few contacts I have, I would say, hey, can I give your network, or maybe you're a part of a networking group or association of electricians, can I do a free workshop for you and the people in your network that just is like an overview of like how electricians can succeed online. Talks about website, basic SEO practices, something like that. So I would try to find, and it kind of depends on if you have an existing network or not. So great question, but either way, you got to find out where they're hanging out online. if you do have a network of any sort, utilize the freaking heck out of that network. Like, even if it's 2 or 3 people, 2 or 3 electricians, find out where they're hanging out, see if they're a part of association that you could do a free training for, or maybe they could connect you and just say like, hey, I would love to do a free training for this electrician group, and go from there. That's how I would definitely get that started. One thing you could do too is you could even like chat GPT, like, where are electricians hanging out? What type of associations that are virtual are they hanging out? Because you could go to like meetup.com, or is it meetup.org now? It's meetup.com, right? I think it's meetup.com. Yeah, you could look at like where electrician virtual events, go to meetup.com and you could see like, yeah, where electrician virtual meetups are happening. But I don't know, with a blue collar service like that, it's probably going to be more of a networking group or an association that they're going to be a part of. So another tactic too is you could look at, like associations for electrician groups, and then see if you can actually contact them. Because the problem with electricians and a lot of other blue collar services is they're not spending too much time online. Likely they made a little. So you probably need to try to get in with, some sort of a association to find out kind of where they're hanging out. So I hope that helps. A few different strategies. This goes back to the question about showing up online and how to market online. So congrats, Marco, on getting your freelance practice going. Website design, app design, CRO, and user research. Struggling with my value prop. What I would do for you, I would really, really beware of app design, because app design is a whole different world than web design. Unless it's like for sure something you really want to do. Personally, with those services I'm seeing right there, user research is kind of like a corporate term that could fit inside of all of that. What I would do with your experience is, and this goes to the question, how would you frame those services? Personally, what I would do is UX design, website, and CRO, conversion rate optimization, because you're going to help them design with strategy and planning. And then that may carry over into probably some brand design as well, I would imagine. So you've got UX design, you plan and you design, we bring that into the websites, and then we track. A framework that I have inside of my business course, which is inside of Web Designer Pro, is to put all of your services into 3 categories: build, support, and grow. So for those, building could be really web design and UX design. Supporting that could be a maintenance plan or very, very basic CRO. And then growing would be like a full-fledged growth plan with conversion rate optimization as your growth service, because you would actually month to month look at what's working and then create a plan that they're maybe signed up for 6 months to a year and have that as your growth plan. So I hope that helps. That's how I would just do UX design or brand design, websites, and then CRO. Those are great because you can wrap up support in there as well. Fee questions, cancellation fees, percent or set, how to handle such a situation. So if you guys have not been through my business course, I have my contract in there. So again, there's a deal below for you. Jump into Web Designer Pro, go through the business course, or you can just search contract and you can grab the contract. But what I have in there is, if the client cancels, there's a couple different ways you could go about it. Ideally, you'd be getting 50% upfront. So if they cancel, you retain 50%. And depending on where they are in the process, like they can't cancel if you got a site ready to go and then they cancel. This is really rare, by the way. It kind of depends on the type of clients you're getting, but I don't know if this is currently happening, Drew, or if it's already happened. But if somebody purely cancels, typically it's just you take the 50% deposit and then that's what it is. It depends on how far along you are on the line. So you could specify, like, if we're 90% done with a project, chances are they're not going to cancel. Usually they're going to cancel if they do after listen, we just don't like the design. We're going to move forward. So really, as long as you're getting 50% upfront, that kind of voids out the cancellation fee. You're never generally going to have somebody cancel and expect them to pay full price. So make sure you're charging at least 50% upfront for a website design, or if you have a subscription model, you do the first phase within those models. And then if they cancel, maybe you could work out a fee or a percentage, but most cases, 50% upfront is going to cover you. What is a reasonable rescheduling fee amount? Client hasn't submitted materials and we have a zombie project. Ah, yes, the old blank. I want to get your website done, but we don't have anything. So rescheduling, I would probably reframe this as like a project delay. So what I recommend inside of my web design contract is that you have deadlines for your project and then fees come into play, like basically late fees, late penalties, which if anyone is really nervous about doing that, let me just say web designers need to start treating our businesses like every other business, which has late fees. If you don't pay your rent on time, or if you don't pay your mortgage, guess what you're going to get 15 to 30 days later? A late fee. So as a web design business owner, you should have late fees. Absolutely. And I would just do it percentage based. I would just do like, whatever that look, probably same thing with a mortgage. I'm pretty sure it's like percentage based. So, right. Most of them are. So that's what I would do for a web design project. Just say like after 30 days, if we don't have contact or if you've disappeared, that's what we have in the web design contract inside of Web Designer Pro. You have a clause that says a late fee will be added to your invoice. You could do a late fee too, but I wouldn't recommend it. So a late fee, there it is. That's what I'd recommend doing for sure. And just do a percentage. I mean, it could be like, I guess depending on the project size, it could be like up to 5% of a late fee. I mean, 10% sounds pretty, if it's a $10,000 project, I would probably just do like a 5% late fee, within like a 30-day period. If you've sent the revisions over or the initial preview, but then you haven't heard in 30 days, late fee. And then that late fee could increase every week until they pay you that certain amount. And you have the right to pause the project and get the late fee payment in before moving forward. Again, only do that if it's drastic. If if life hits them and they've got a parent that's ill, or they broke their leg, or something's going on with their children, obviously, I would still lead with a heart-based business since we're service providers, but you definitely can't let clients run all over you, even if it's accidental with late fees. All right, we'll get to some questions here. We got some good ones. I'm going to try to go a little faster over this next round. Hey, Lawrence, good to see you. Would you already build a new site with Divi 5 or stick to Divi 4 at the moment? It depends. So two of my sites, joshhall.co and then webdesignerpro.com. Joshhall.co is on 4, and webdesignerpro.com has been on 5 for over a year. Webdesignerpro.com has less functionality. I'm not using WooCommerce. I'm not using an LMS behind it. I didn't even have a contact form on there for a long time. So if you have less features, Lawrence, you're okay to roll with Divi 5. But if you have a lot of different plugins and a lot of things that are not for sure compatible yet, I know Divi 5 is getting closer and closer to full compatibility with a lot of different plugins, but I would probably play it safe. I mean, it's probably safe to bet until the new year. Again, Divi 5 is technically live, but there's still a lot of plugins it's not 100% compatible with yet in different features. So yeah, short answer, Divi 4, if it's, you got a lot of different functionality. Divi 5, you're good to go if it's a fairly quote unquote simple site. Josh, I would like to dive deeper into the website in a week concept. So Carolyn, couple different resources for you. I'll show you this because Carolyn, you're a member of Web Designer Pro, so I'll just share this. So Carolyn, you and other Web Designer Pro members head over to Josh's Corner here inside of Web Designer Pro. And I just actually added a new little category for playbooks. Playbooks are basically newsletters and blog posts that I've had, or tutorials that are very like fast action. Like if you want to do website in a week, go this route. What I would do for you, Carolyn, is go into Website in a Day, because this is the playbook that's based off of my conversation with Bailey Collins, who has done over 400 Website in a Day projects. But you can reframe this for Website in a Week. So that's what I would do for you, Carolyn, and any Web Designer Pro members. Go to the playbooks, and I would just take Website in a Day. This maps out how to structure the build. This maps out how to do the pricing and add-ons, boundaries, tools and tech, and then a little bit of client acquisition as well. But again, this could absolutely be reframed for a website in a week as well. For those who have not heard that episode, that was, what was it? Yeah, that was episode 387. I'll put this in the chat for everybody. So Bailey has an agency where they've done literally over 400 website in a day projects. And this discussion is like a free masterclass. This one of my most popular episodes in the past 2 years based off of downloads. So, yeah, if any of you are interested in a website in a day or week offer, get on this episode and then come on into Web Designer Pro with the offer you see below and jump into the playbooks. This is at the community level, by the way. So I do recommend joining the community level. You just get way more in the community level. You get all my courses, all the resources, but you also get all of our extra trainings, and the community's freaking awesome. Side note, you guys want to see what is working today in web design? When you join Web Designer Pro at the community level, go to the wins and successes spot, because Liz just shared how she closed her first website update. Carol just shared what she did in a little 90-day revenue rebound. She's the one who I mentioned earlier. We've got members who are killing it and sharing everything. Like Alexia just shared recently how she landed a $3,000 a month retainer client. Guys, if you want to see what's working, this one section of Web Designer Pro is worth the investment, because I can give you all the strategies and tactics in the world, but a fast track is to see what people are doing and then apply that to your business ASAP. So yeah, definitely recommend that as well. At the very least, if you're interested in a website in a day or a week model, check out Bailey's episode. Awesome, guys. All right, some really good questions. Let's see here. Okay, Christopher. Just want to thank you, Josh. You helped me realize I was going down an overly complicated and expensive road building an in-house team as I scaled, which took a lot of my pocket last year. Thank you, Chris, for that. No, man, I really, really appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, the reality is you can do so much with contractors that are just white label partners or just 1099 contractors, and they don't need to be in-house. You will save a lot more, especially depending on your tax setup. Disclaimer, I'm not a CPA or a tax advisor, thank God. But yeah, you can definitely get into trouble with like in-house, but you know, there are pros and cons to having internal team versus contractor, because you don't really, I don't want to say own contractors, but when somebody works full-time in your team, they're not doing other projects and working for other clients. Awesome though, Christopher. Switch to a solo agency model based off your recommendations. Last 9 months have been much better for clients and myself. That's freaking awesome. Increased profit, automating my processes and easier. That is killer. That is killer, Christopher. Yeah, you'd be primed and ready for Web Designer Pro, man. I do recommend it to many of my experts who are just getting started. Well, yeah, look, we've got a lot of scalers who are in your position. So you're definitely a good fit, Christopher. Even if you want to get some coaching, you can join the community tier, and I'm opening up coaching spots almost every month now. So you'd probably be a really good fit for some of the high-level scaling stuff. So yeah, I'd recommend it. Side note, I'm not sure if you went through this, Christopher, but I do have a free training about how to scale. So for folks who are more established like Christopher, you can go currently, I'm going to move this over to webdesignerpro.com, but I do have a free training on scaling. Christopher, I don't know if you've been through this. It's right here. If you guys would like to pick it up, I just posted it in the chat. This is actually pulled from my scaling course. So inside of Web Designer Pro, kind of my top level course is my scaling course. This masterclass is basically like the top tips from that are stripped down. So you guys can all pick this up for free, or even if you're just curious about what it looks like to scale, it's in the chat, joshhall.co/scale. We'll zip you over to this free scaling masterclass. We really dive deep into how to get more time back, to focus on the work you love, how to go from creating a job to creating a business, and how to work less and make more. So yeah, and I have a roadmap checklist all about scaling, which is in there too. So, but I'm glad, Christopher, to hear that some of my tips have helped you. Awesome. Yeah, so I can't wait to see you in Pro, Christopher, if you want to jump on in. And everyone who joins the community tier, by the way, you'll have the option to get a free coaching boost. So what that is, I got to do a better job at talking about this, but I will actually send you a little 5 to 10 minute Loom video. I will look at your business. I'll look at your website, anything that you want to get just a quick coaching boost on. I will be happy to do that for you, even as a community member. So yeah, Christopher, if you want to jump in, You'll get an automatic DM when you join, and then you can just hit me with what you want my insight on, and then I will get right back to you this week. So that'd be great. Yeah, there's so many ways to scale, guys, and you can truly, it sounds so cheesy, but my course is called Scale Your Way for a reason. You really can do it your way. That's what's so exciting about just the world we live in. I mean, I don't know if you guys are curious about like who's the team behind my stuff. It is this. It is, we'll go down to team here. Whoop, meet the team. See if that links me over. Actually, we'll just do this. How about we, there we go. So the way I do it, I have 0 full-time employees except for my golden retrievers who are in the office with me right now, actually. Chris is my main VA. She's a contractor. She's on a monthly retainer. Nathan, my podcast and video editor, he's on a monthly retainer. Alexia, Web Designer Pro member who recently came on for graphic design, she's on a monthly retainer. So is Kevin. These are all monthly retainer contractors. And then I have, the way I separate the two, and you can do this for your team page as well, but I have just a little collaborates. It's like, do they collaborate ongoing, frequently, or do they collaborate occasionally? Michelle and Christian, Michelle is my SEO guru, Christian is my developer extraordinaire. They only collaborate occasionally. They are not on a monthly retainer. I only hire them out basically when needed and when they're available. So you guys can run with the same approach. Christopher, I'm not sure if this is how you have yours structured, but just wanted to show you guys that you can make your own team page that is just like this if you don't want to have full-time employees. Awesome. Awesome. So Breen had a good question. Then we'll try to bust through some more here on our last little while. Breen is a newish web designer with a background in print and branding. Hey, join the club, Breen. So am I. So are many web designers. So it gives you an edge in UI. It definitely does. Learning UX in Wix Studio, exploring Figma. Want basic coding to handle more complex projects. It depends on how far you want to go on coding, Breen. I got to be honest with you. What I would do for you, if you have a background in design and that's what you love branding, you love UX. Honestly, my truthful advice is to like lean into that, because if you get into the coding world, it will consume you. And if you are not good at it naturally, what takes you 3 hours will take a really good developer who you could hire out probably like 30 minutes or less. So my only apprehension to that, as somebody who also came from a design world first, is like, it takes me a long time to figure CSS stuff out and HTML stuff out. I don't know any PHP or any Java or any jQuery or anything. All I know is CSS pretty well and HTML. So I think it's okay to have like, it's good to have a basic understanding, which you can go to w3schools.com, has some of the best tips completely free for learning code on a basic level, w3schools.com. So I would, at the bare minimum, I would do that. So again, this is what I mentioned that we're looking at, w3schools or schools.com. You can like get a basic understanding of HTML and CSS. Honestly, you could stop there, unless you want to go further into JavaScript or anything else. But this will, honestly, you could play around with this and have a really good idea of the basics, and then you can go from there. But I just heed my warning, if you would, Breen, just because if you like clients and you like marketing and you're great at UX, I would make that your superpower, because there's a lot of developers, and quite frankly, you can do a lot with ChatGPT to get help with code, to where it's just worthwhile hiring them out and saving your sanity. So that's what I'd recommend. All right, guys, we'll try to go a little faster here through some last questions. A question I could ask you, Josh, would be how to encourage existing customers or even service leads to also join my coaching community, where I give them additional empowerment. I'm building community. Congrats, Christopher. Oh, we have a lot to talk about, dude. If you're building community, we got lots and lots to talk about. I would just call it like a coaching program. Just offer it. One thing I would probably do is give them a no-brainer offer that is also a reasonable timeline to get results. So I don't know what you're offering, Christopher, but I would probably do I would kick off with like a 90-day sprint or like a coaching boost to where maybe when they sign up with you over the next 90 days, maybe they get like an onboarding call. That's like a one-on-one strategy call. You give them some, and I would be detailed about what you're doing in coaching. Like empowerment is vague. So one thing I would say is like, are you going to help them with like website tips and conversion? Are you going to what's the result they're going to get with coaching with you? And if you can do a 90-day sprint, maybe it's like a revenue sprint or like a revenue boost. Maybe you help them come up with marketing ideas based off of what they're doing now. And then when they come up with these marketing ideas and strategies for them, I'm guessing everything's going to lead to the website. So maybe you come in and help them with the web design side of things. It'll probably lead to additional work. So that's how I would try to frame it, as something that they're obviously going to pay for. I mean, depending on how many clients we're talking, you could do like a free workshop or a free group coaching call, or even like a low ticket, like maybe it's a $99 workshop. And then the lead into a $99 workshop is they get a 90-day, coaching sprint with you, or a boot camp or something where it's a little more personal. And then maybe that's like $500 or $1,000, but then maybe they get the $99 workshop, discounted off it. I would do something like that to make it a no-brainer offer up front. And then again, you don't need to necessarily get them in with a long monthly contract right away, but they're going to want to see some light at the end of the tunnel. So the question would be, what light can you give them at the end of the tunnel of like, I like 90 days. 90 days is enough to implement. It's enough to plan. It's enough to execute, and it's enough to read the results. So that's what I would consider doing. Awesome, guys. Cool. Okay, this is back to the questions before. Awesome. Glad that helped with your question before. Thank you for that clarity. App design is something I'm passionate about as well. This was back to the web design, UX, app development. Yeah, app development is quite different from web design and UX. So I would just make that super clear, the difference. Carolyn wants to know, what if someone paid for a website up front but doesn't cough up the content? I'm actually being ghosted by someone who already paid for the contract. So Carolyn, you're in pro. Go back to the contract. You should have a disclaimer in there that says, if we don't get content by the deadline date of the project or the certain phases, you reserve the right to either do a new quote or send the project as is if they paid in full, but they missed their deadlines. There should be a disclaimer in there that's like, after a certain amount of time, we have the right to do a new project or proposal or do an hourly retainer to get that content in. All right. Drew is from the future because he's using Divi 6. I'm just messing with you, Drew. Probably Divi 5, I'm guessing you meant. So unless you are from the future, in which case, let me know how AI goes. Let's see how long humanity has. Awesome, guys. All right, so a few final questions as we got 10 minutes left. Is it Graham? Is that right? Just popping in to say your podcast is fantastic. You always great resource to check in with. Oh, thank you. Really, really appreciate that. Yeah, guys, completely free. Jump on over to the Web Design Business Podcast if you're not yet a listener. I had some really good episodes recently. So yeah, get on over. You can go to joshhall.co/podcast and would love to see you over there. What I would do, because we're closing in on 400 episodes, I know there's a lot to dive into. Actually, real quick, if you didn't know, with podcasts, we do have playlists. So if you're a new listener and you're like, all right, let me check out the podcast. Oh God, 400 episodes. Where do I even start? Well, first thing I would do is just go through and just, get a feel for some of the most recent episodes, like Bailey's episode on Website in a Day. Antoine had an awesome episode. We had a great chat about AI and web design. Or you can go to playlists, and we actually have all of our episodes categorized now to where if you are a beginner starting your business, here are some great episodes on how to start your business along with a free training. Training I just mentioned a little bit ago is right here on scaling. But let's say you want to learn about SEO, Click SEO. That'll take you to all my episodes about SEO. So we do have like topical episodes ready for you in the way of playlists. So go have some fun with that if you are a new or existing podcast listener. Thank you for that comment. I really, really appreciate that. Do you want to know what resources approach do you use for hiring and getting qualified contract staff? Admin, SEO, logo design, etc. Honestly, one of the best things you can do is be in a community of other web designers who are already hiring people and already have connections. That's the true and honest answer. It's one of the hidden benefits of Web Designer Pro, by the way, is you can ask, who do you know who does this? Or is there anyone here who does this? Because it takes a level out of like posting to a 25,000 person Facebook group. And it's like, oh man. So honestly, that's one of the best places to go is in a private community. You can do Fiverr and Upwork, and those are great, but a lot of candidates and a lot of back and forth. Also, you have to use their platforms to submit work. And I don't love that personally. So I would join Web Designer Pro personally and just start there because that should cover you. If you want to go more of like an overseas route, because there's so many great Filipino VAs and designers and developers. Online PH jobs. Oh, what the heck is that website? Hold on. There it is. onlinejobs.ph. This is one that a lot of Web Designer Pro members are using specifically for jobs for virtual workers based in the Philippines. Philippine designers and VAs are just so great because they speak really good English typically, and they're working for stateside folks. They're working while you're sleeping. So like my lead VA is from the Philippines and she's amazing. No one can have her, unfortunately, because she is busy and she has a full-time job on top of doing my stuff, but man, are they awesome. They're just great, great people. So check out onlinejobs.ph. I'll put that in the chat. That's a great place as well. So personally, I'd go to Web Designer Pro or a trusted web design group or community you're a part of. And then otherwise, I mean, you can go to specific Facebook groups that have like certain roles. If you're okay with Western rates as far as contracts, and otherwise Upwork, Fiverr's fine. And then Online Jobs is a bit of a hidden gem among many others. All right, guys, last few minutes. So we'll do final questions. Put your final question in the chat and we'll do a lightning fast speed round here. Flash round of questions. Backlink building. I'm away. There's no quick and easy win. Just trying to get the first hurdles other than clients, trying to get associations, etc. Backlinks. Any advice? You mentioned it, Graham. It's ideally you would get folks in your niche or in your industry to give you a good backlink. I will share a bit of a hidden trick, and that is to submit a testimonial. If you do use a product or service, that is a good representation of that. For example, you guys probably know I use Divi. I submitted a testimonial for Divi 5 because I'm liking it a lot. And if you search Divi 5, you'll end up on the main Divi 5 page. And because I've known the team in Elegant Themes for a while, and because I used the tool, I submitted a testimonial, and I got one of the best backlinks imaginable, and it's right here on the actual Divi 5 page. So I submitted this testimonial. I did not ask for this. They just did it. I got a great backlink to webdesignerpro.com from the Divi 5 page. So this is just an example, like a real world example of how that can play out. So I would find who is in your niche that's a relevant backlink for you. And I mean, you can ask them about doing like a blog for them and vice versa, or some sort of feature. Otherwise, send a testimonial and you might get a backlink, or try to be featured on their podcast if they have a podcast show or a YouTube show. I've done that with a lot of podcasts I've been on. You get backlinks for being a podcast guest. So that's a good way to try as well. Awesome, Christopher. I hope to see you in pro. I have contractors behind the scenes, but remove the team showcase page. So what I would do for you, Christian, is just what I shared a little bit ago. I think this was in reference to that. Have a team page. Absolutely. But they don't need to be a full-time team member. They could just be contractors. And again, for anyone who just joined us and missed this, here's an example of how to do that. Have a team page. None of these people are full-time team members. And I just say collaborates frequently for those who have ongoing retainers, and then collaborates occasionally for those who are not yet ongoing team members. Side note, you can do this even, so Christopher, I haven't even looked. Hopefully you've joined Pro by now, but Web Designer Pro members, when you join, you can add Web Designer Pro to your team page, because even if it's just you are automatically in a network of online community web designers who can help you out when needed. Hold on a sec. I know we have a member who has a really good example of this. Hold on a sec. Let me look this up and then I'll show you a really good example of this. Yeah, Super Thought. That's right. Super Thought Technologies. So this is a member from Web Designer Pro, Eric. I forget where he has it on. So here's Eric. Eric's freaking awesome. Doing a lot with AI right now. Here we go. Yep. And if you go to his About page, Eric doesn't have a huge team. Was it on here? Or did he take it off? Let's see. What we do, who we help. I thought he had it on. Maybe he has a separate team page, but he for a while had, I'm a member of Web Designer Pro, and you can literally put like folks who you may collaborate with on your website. So I'll find some more examples. I need to have some more examples of that live here, because I know I saw some recently, but that's something you can do as well. Is literally just, even as a member of Pro, you can have the logo on your website that says I'm a member of Web Designer Pro, and I'm surrounded by a great group of folks there as well who, maybe they fill a certain gap or they're like a referral partner. It's a great way to go with a team page. Man, time's flying by. Last few minutes, so we'll go quick here. So Christopher calls it website plus marketing coaching for premium resources. Cool. Yeah, so that's what I would do. Let me know how that goes. Just I would consider doing a no-brainer offer to get them through the door and see it, and then go from there. Awesome, guys. No problem. Glad this helped. Any final questions? Thanks, Drew. Appreciate that. Okay. He was just joking on Divi 6. Got it. Oh, thank you, Breen, for the podcast comment. Very cool. Hey, Emily, we'll do a couple last questions here. Oh, Emily's got a big one. Okay. Final questions. We'll go to Emily here to wrap this up. No problem, Breen. Again, if you guys missed it, jump down below in the description. I have a free newsletter. You can get my free revenue calculator when you sign up for that. If you're already a member, or if you're already a subscriber on my email, just contact me, joshhall.co/contact. I will personally send you over the calculator today. And join Web Designer Pro with the offer below. There's a special offer for your first 90 days. I would join the community tier personally. You're going to get so much value. You can join our live training next week on AI and SEO. All right. This is a biggie. This is a series of questions. Pivotal moment in my business, says Emily. 5 years in, full-time, team of contractors. Took me a long time to manage. I'm doing everything myself again. I feel lost without finding the right talent. I hope what I just covered might help. SEO, automations, conversion management, custom integrations, general back-end tech help. I'm great with design, messaging, sales, interfacing with clients. But in order to high-ticket projects, I need a handful of people that I can afford and people I can rely on. Okay. As profit increases, I can pay more. Concerned because I know I need to level up, but I just don't have the time to source for the right web contractors. I actually just joined, says Emily. The community tier for a second ago, because I think I could already hear your answer. Yeah, there you go. I was just going to say, Emily, jump in the community. We'll get you sorted. Web Designer Pro, we'll get you sorted. The thing for you, Emily, that I would really, really encourage you to do is know your roles in the business and just commit to those. It sounds like you've already done that. You probably need, I'm guessing you need help with tech support and advanced development. So that may be one role, those may be two roles. You can definitely get help with both inside of Web Designer Pro. He's much more advanced developer and has a bigger portfolio. Somebody like him, like an advanced developer that you would want to work with, I would consider him as more of a like referral partner. And I would just tell him, I will give you, a certain amount of work, whether it's on retainer or ongoing, that's occasional one-off as a referral partner. And then if you have folks who, need design and branding and stuff that you don't do, we can have a really, really mutual referral partner relationship. So that's what I would do. That's probably how I'd go about that. But Emily, it sounds like you're already in pro, so welcome on in. I will follow up with you personally on some tips on this, but what I would do as you join is, honestly, it might be worth going through my scaling course. So when you jump in, Emily, what I would do, you could go through my Scale Your Way course, which is pretty quick. And there's actually an audio version of the course. So you can go through the scaling course. I would probably jump into the org chart lesson because I'll walk you through how to create an org chart of your own that looks like this. And again, you've probably already done something similar, but this is a really good way to know exactly what you need to hire out and put a percentage of projects to those roles. So yeah, I would consider going into this. If you don't have time to watch the course, it is available in audio. A lot of my courses now, guys, in Web Designer Pro are available in audio. So you can actually get a podcast version of this course. Listen to that when you're doing dishes or whatever you're doing and driving, whatever. Get the audio course, go through that. This is the most listenable course. And I think that will really, really help. And then come over to Post an Opportunity, and I would post a pretty detailed description of both of those roles, tech support and advanced development. Jump in here and post that, and then we will get you sorted immediately. Again, guys, link below to jump in here to Web Designer Pro with a special discount for 90 days, and we'll get you sorted, especially for those of you who are either learning from the ground up or you're more established like Christopher and Emily and you need help on a higher level. Luckily, Web Designer Pro is built to where we can help everybody really at any stage of the game, which is super exciting. So awesome, guys. Let me check to see if there is any final questions, and then we will wrap this one up. Great questions today, though, guys. Great questions. Awesome, 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 Emily. Yeah, I think we probably answered quite a few of those here recently, but we can get even more pinpointed to help you for sure. Great to see you, Anna. And then Drew, good to see you. Nicely done today, says Drew. Well, that's like the best comment to end off right there. So thank you, guys. Wonderful session. Again, before we head out, links below to my free newsletter where I'll send you my brand new web design business revenue calculator, and then your special offer to jump into pro. It's month to month right now, guys, so there's nothing to lose. Try it out. You are going to get so much, especially for those of you at the community tier. If you're here and you're on the courses tier, it'd be a great time to upgrade. You can use that same discount to upgrade up to the community tier for 90 days. So we got some awesome stuff ahead, especially as we're heading into Q4 now. I can't believe it's Q4. So wild. All right, guys, great session. Thanks for the great questions. And I hope to see you in Web Designer Pro. If I don't see you in Pro, I'll see you next month on our next live Q&A. Date to be announced. Cheers, guys. Have a great one.